What's happening, Panda Nation? Peter from Panda here. I love my DJI Osmo Mobile 2. I just wish they made one that could fit in my pocket. Oh, what? DJI does. It's called the Osmo Pocket. This just came out. I ordered it. I will tell you right now, it's $350. I am hoping that this thing is worth every penny of it. As you know, I really like my Osmo Mobile 2. I can put my smartphone in it. I actually have discovered some limitations with it, but I really like having the really high quality video recording capability of my iPhone XS Max, which the camera and the optical image stabilization on it is really phenomenal. But I saw this and was absolutely intrigued by it. Now, I do want to give you a couple of disclaimers here. There are lots of videos right now on the Osmo Pocket, and that's actually how I found it. Some guys got pre-release models and reviewed it, and after those came out, some other reviews started pointing out some of the flaws with it. And so I actually, when I saw the original videos, I was like, I want that. That is perfect. It's going to solve a lot of problems for me in terms of, you know, getting video that I want. And then when they started identifying the shortcomings, I thought, wow, that's not as good as the recording equipment I already have. And so I canceled my order. However, I will tell you, DJI apparently updated the firmware on here, so it kind of minimized, maybe actually improved a lot of those things that I was reticent about, and I will kind of talk about those. But I do want to say, and my disclosure here is that I paid $350 for this. I ordered it from the DJI website. They have not given me a discount. They've not hooked me up. They haven't reached out to me. And I'm not saying that like you should be surprised, because I am the littlest YouTube channel out there, but I do want to say that there are a ton of videos, and if you're watching them, a lot of them are going to be very favorable to the Osmo Pocket in a way that, you know, they should, because, you know, they're kind of trying to be friendly to a sponsor, but DJI is in no way affiliated with me. Now, that being said, I'm going to give you a totally fair and honest review of this sucker, you know, after I test it out. So first thing is, it comes just like this. This is what you get. In fact, the box was so small when it came, I thought, what? Is that even possible? So it came, and I also want to say that it came relatively quickly. It did not come Amazon 2-day Prime. I want to say I ordered it maybe on the 13th or 14th, and it's the 20th, I think. So it took about a week to get it. Not bad. So I'm okay with that. I actually thought it might ship overseas. You can see here we have a little graphic. This is a hard plastic case, and it has like a silicone strap that goes over it, attached on this side, and it uses a little button hook right there. And this is what, obviously, the Osmo goes into, I guess, to carry it. So you do have a little case right out of the gate on it. Looks like we have all the manuals here, silica. I'm not sure if I can eat that or not. We do have a little lanyard that could actually be pretty useful. We have a sliding stop on it right there, and really thin here. That's kind of action camera-ish. We also have a little bag of goodies here of cableage. And what do we have? All right, so we have a USB-C to USB-A cable, so that's how we're gonna power it. We also have, all right, the USB-C. Oh, it's going to add on the front here. They have this kind of like universal port. I don't want to break anything. I think this will just slide out right there. Then we get these connectors, and now I could connect it to a USB-C by sliding that in there. And then this one, which is also nice. I wasn't sure if these were going to be separate accessories or included. This one is to Lightning. So this is going to be really nice if you have your iPhone. So it's just going to slide in there. Then it's going to give you a Lightning jack right there, so I could take my iPhone here and then plug it in, and then you'll use it almost like a large screen, right? So that's going to give you finer control. And from what I've seen already, a lot of the features are you're actually locked out of some of that finer control with if you don't attach an iPhone or a camera. Now, I'm not going to use that probably much. That's kind of the whole point, is I actually don't want to rely on my iPhone, because I feel like the beauty of this is the pocket size, and so I can take video without kind of annoying anyone, without being really obvious on it. So back to the case here. I just want to see how the sucker goes in. So it looks like the control panel will face this way, and then this will go in here, and I'm assuming then you flip it up so it faces down like that. It's got a little kick up here, a little hump that's going to protect the gimbal portion, and then you close it up just like this. So when you're actually storing this thing, I do like the fact that they kind of thought about it, because you're probably going to want the plug that you need to adapt it to your smartphone in there most of the time, and so you can obviously keep that in there and use this case. It's got a nice little cutout here for that protrusion. You can also see it's got a cutout here on the bottom to get to that USB-C port, so I can charge this thing in the case like this, in this little carrying holder. I really do like that. I wish there was actually another little spot here so I could put in the other adapters, or just the little front door on this, but it's all right, you know, especially since I'm in the Apple world, and having the lightning connector is really quite nice. So that's pretty nice. That is really pocket sized, I'll be honest. This thing is not big, and that is what I love about it. In terms of video quality, it should take 4K at 60 frames a second, which I'm really in love with. As you might notice, my footage here and on my channel, I generally try to do that. It kind of smooths out things. You can kind of slow down shots a little if you need to. The 60 frames per second at 4K is just really great, and I try to shoot everything like that. Here is the micro SD card slot, I believe, right there. We have a record button right there, and I'm not sure another function. This is the function button, and this will have, as you can see here, power and function, so we'll hold that to turn it on. But then I think you can do 1, 2, and 3 clicks. The 3 clicks on it will spin this around, so you'll either get selfie or flip it around for use like a regular camera. Here is the tiny, it's a little 1-inch screen. You might be able to see it there in the shimmer. And so that's what you'll see. And obviously, because of how small it is, you know, people are saying, oh, well, my face was out of focus, but you couldn't really tell here. So it's really just meant for framing the shot, knowing what you're getting, knowing if it's working, as opposed to really having fine control. But you can swipe, it is touch screen, so you can do some of that and actually control a little bit and change some of the settings with a little cover over the camera itself. I'm really wondering where the microphone is. Looks like that's a hole for the microphone. Now, I'm going to correct myself. This is a microphone hole here, so there's a microphone. So when you're doing selfies and shooting yourself like this, there's a microphone directed at you. I actually thought that was the only microphone. Apparently there is a dual microphone, and I was looking up here to find where they put it, because obviously if this camera is looking the other direction, I figured, well, there should be a microphone hole facing the other direction. There isn't. There's a little hole right here, and this is the other microphone. So yes, truly dual microphone, and I do like the fact that if I'm holding it like this, it's out of the way. In fact, neither microphone hole is probably covered. I probably would have expected it, if anything, to maybe be up here, kind of looking forward, but it's down here, and my guess is maybe somehow it's angled more for forward audio pickup. I don't know. I'm definitely going to take, you know, third-person shots looking at action. We'll see what the audio is like there. But that audio was one of the big things that people complained about, it, that it wasn't particularly good. Firmware has apparently improved that, but we'll see how good it is. The front here is slightly curved, so when I'm holding it like this, it actually feels really good in my hand. And you know, these edges are a little bit sharper. They're not sharp, but they're just more squared off, so it actually doesn't feel as good like this on my thumb, but it doesn't feel bad in any way. We have the same type of gimbal. This is all metal. It feels great. It's really, really smooth, and as you can see, the camera lens right there, hello, up and down, and so that should be pretty nice. If you plug this into your iPhone here, it'll launch that DJI mobile app, and you can shoot with it. And this thing is pretty light, and so actually I feel pretty comfortable when it's plugged in here that you're just holding the phone itself and manipulating the camera with just the phone, and it's pretty clever. Now, there's a couple things that are not so clever about it. One, when it's connected like this, you would think that the videos and the photos that it shoots here would be able to transfer to the phone. And in fact, when you're navigating and looking and browsing at those videos, you can select them and then hit the download button, but then you always get this error that says not available on this device. So I went online, and apparently that's just a thing. Everyone assumes it's the DJI is the issue, because Apple says, you know, it should be fine, and if you transfer the videos to your computer, you can transfer them to your phone just fine. So I saw on the support site DJI saying, we're looking into it, but that does not work. And that's actually really, really frustrating, because if I'm taking shots on here and then want to put them on my iPhone because I'm on a trip or on the road to manipulate them, put them in iMovie, cut them up, edit them, whatever, I can't do that. So you really need the computer to move them around. And that seems like an unnecessary step, especially since I can actually plug it in. Now there is like a Bluetooth apparently adapter or something that I can buy to plug it in here and then, you know, transfer these things via Bluetooth. That seems totally unnecessary. The other thing I want to say here is that the nice thing is I don't have to always pop out this SD card and put it in my computer. I can just hook up a USB-C cable to USB-A and plug it into my computer. However, it does not find this as an external hard drive or external drive like a flash drive unless you remove this lightning plug. So as long as this plugs on here, this Osmo Pocket always assumes that you're trying to transfer it. So you have to actually eject this in order for it to get discovered as a drive, which I also find a little weird because, you know, if anything, it should allow you to decide like, hey, we just detected a USB-C cable plugged in. Do you want to use that or do you want to use this? So that is annoying to me because I feel like, especially when you're removing this, you're kind of wearing the connectors, you're wearing the little plastic, it's in there pretty tight. And so, you know, every time you do that, it's just going to get a little looser in my opinion. So I'm not a big fan of that. Now, I also want to say here that I actually do like the shots that it took, and I was testing some things, and I'm going to show you some video where I was in a grocery store and trying to check out the audio. And what I realized is that it's just, there's no good way to kind of show you that, experience it. I think it works okay, but it was really hard to kind of find something in front of me and capture the audio. Hi, how are you? Good.
Good, thank you. Okay, so 33.35.
But the audio seemed okay. It definitely did not seem as good even as an iPhone, which has a microphone facing forward with the back camera. So that seems better. But as you can see in some of this video, you know, it was picking up audio that I wasn't really sure where the microphone was at the time. Okay. Now the other thing I really actually do like about this is that it has kind of like a tilt lock feature. So if we go right here, you can see down here on the bottom we have this little follow, which means it will kind of move with you a little slowly, and tilt lock, and that's what I really want to show you. It also has a first person view, which will just kind of mimic like holding a camera in place. Now I'm going to move it to this tilt lock here because what I want to show you is what it does. So I've got it in tilt lock, and what happens is if I move the camera like this, it's always kind of staying horizontal. And you might say, isn't it supposed to? Well, actually, if I tilt it up in the other position, the camera will kind of look up a little slowly or look down, and so it's kind of assuming that you're holding the pocket in the direction that you want. But when you tilt lock it, it steadies that camera in the horizontal plane. That's actually really nice because there's a lot of times when I'm walking and I'm not realizing that my camera is facing up or down, you know, particularly when I'm manipulating a bag or I have other things in my hand and I just want the shot to be steady. The other thing that this can do is get you some really nice high and low angles. You know, so if you're holding the camera above your head trying to shoot something like on a stage, you know, at a concert or something like that, and you're holding it real high, you don't have to worry about, am I tilting it at the stage? You'll know that it's still horizontal. Likewise, if I go down to the floor really low to get some really low angles, I also know that I'm not looking right at the floor either, that it's looking kind of straight ahead. And so one of the things that I did here as I was walking through the grocery store is I put it really low to the floor and then raised it way above my head too. And what you'll see is that it's got really nice shots and it seems really steady. And on top of that, you can kind of do some kind of cinematic things, I guess, because I can kind of cruise really close to the floor with this tilt locker, really close to a wall. You can kind of get some nice, really close shots that would actually be harder with any other camera because of its size, or even with a smartphone camera. So I think actually for kind of filming in some really tight places, this Osmo Pocket is probably really good. Now that being said, you can see all this footage. I think it looks great. I'm actually really impressed with not only the stabilization side to side, you know, as you're kind of swinging this thing from side to side, up and down, but even that, do they call it, is it the Z-axis, the up and down motion? You know, when you're walking with things, you can really see that. So I'm assuming they're doing that somehow with electronic image stabilization, but you really don't get that walking, that stepping, bouncing look in the video, which I kind of thought the gimbal would not be able to really handle. All right, back at the staircase here, and I don't have it tilt locked, so we can see up and down. Now I'm gonna kind of hustle up these stairs and see what it does. This is the hardest test, I think, for gimbal. So let's give it a shot here, as well as it is on me. So there we are. I went up and made a lot of noise doing it. Let's see what it looks like coming back down. It's always a little jarring, kind of swaying side to side, as well as my hand is getting knocked around pretty good, and then woo! Get to run around. All right, guys, outside. It's a little bit of a dawn situation here, not the greatest overhead light. I'm obviously doing a selfie here, and I'm just kind of walking through my yard again. And it's a pretty cool morning, but just slightly above freezing. Winter's here, but it sure doesn't feel like white Christmas yet. All right, so that was the selfie stuff. I'm gonna flip around the camera here. Woo, and as you might be able to see that there. And let's just jog through the grass here and see what that looks like on camera too. Always a little bit tricky here because the ground's uneven and your body's trying to compensate, and then I'm also trying to hold the camera pretty steady while. Actually, I do like this flipping back and forth. I tell you what, one of the problems actually with the camera is that it's so small, which is a good thing, but it's so small in my hand that I'm kind of holding it a little like this sometimes, so that I'm not covering the screen. And what that ends up doing is that you don't have quite the purchase you do on the big Osmo Mobile 2, and so you have a little less, I don't know, I think secure control of it. So I've just got to learn, I think, to kind of grab more of the body of the handle. So that's what it looks like. So overall, I'm really impressed with this. My thoughts are that, one, it is the right size. I really love that the camera and the gimbal portion is quite small. Even when I was walking through the grocery store, I was far less self-conscious about it because I didn't really think that people were looking at me thinking I was filming. In fact, it doesn't really look like you're holding maybe anything but a key fob in your hand. So it's not that obvious. And in fact, I even took some close-up shots of the cashier on the checkout lane, and I don't know that she even noticed it. So not that anyone cares about me, I'm kind of invisible. But this camera, because it takes 4K at 60 frames per second and takes really nice video, this is actually a really good camera. So many cameras, like the front row cam, which I do like, max out at like 1080p or 2K really, and they all use electronic image stabilization, but that even gets kind of reduced a little bit. So this one really does give you quality video shot that you can use for, videos like this, or professional videos, I think, or really capturing family moments that you want to have really nice raw footage. And on top of that, it's not that expensive. All right, so $350 for this bad boy, I will say, is not a giveaway price, but it's a fair price for as much as you get in this. Even a camera that shoots kind of this high frame rate and high resolution, I think, could definitely be pretty expensive. It's really easy to pocket. It's almost easier to take on like a hike or a trip than any other camera, and you can get some really great shots on it. So I really wanted to check out the features and see if this was something that was worth buying on my own, and I'm gonna say it was. It's not without its quirks, and I'm hoping that it'll get better, and some of those things like video and photo transfers get sorted out in the software, but otherwise I'm thrilled with it. It's the DJI Osmo Pocket, and I'm super glad to have this in my camera arsenal. Check it out at the link in the description below. Peter Von Panda, out.